111th day of class, and we are going to be learning about the French Revolution, the last of our revolutions we're going to be learning about. And we're going to start here on my Moodle page, and we're going to scroll down to day 111, and it says class play. And I know it's unusual to put on a play, but you have to understand, some places in the world, they express their history through acting, through drama. It's a very viable way to get history across. And I'm going to open up the assignment. And we're going to create a story. And this is a group assignment, and it's going to entail making a script, choosing actors for different roles, and then finally acting it out. And I'm going to give extra credit for leaders. I'm looking for HWIC, HMIC, head women in charge, head men in charge, to take control of their groups. And we're going to be using chapter 18 of your book to complete this, and it's an oral narrative, meaning you are using your voices, not your pens and pencils or typing, to express a story. Now, this act is in 4 parts. Now, act number 1 entails these 6 people, and this is the beginning of the revolution. It's the revolution in the air, the things that led up to the revolution. Act 2 is when the revolution went down. And then the revolution went off the rails. Things got crazy to the point they call it the Reign of Terror. And then Napoleon brings order to this and takes over the country and expands France, just as big of an expansion as we've seen since the Mongols. So notice there's 25 roles, and every class is different. I have classes that range from 20 to 35. So there is some tweaking, and I would encourage you to add, delete, move people around to create a more viable story. And again, act number 1, on the eve of revolution. I need act 1 to include how French society was divided into the various estates, with the first estate, the clergy at the top, the second estate, the royalty at the bottom, with the peasants being the third estate. But understand, the peasants are 85% of the population, yet in terms of voting, they each had a third of the votes to determine things. So the first and second estate, which was the minority, are going to collude against the third estate. You can understand why the third estate gets very upset. And then this act will end with the storming of the Bastille. Once the Bastille is stormed, the revolution is on. And this is the French Revolution unfolding. And I want you to begin your act with the storming of the Bastille. Include the great fear and the factions that emerged from this. Include the National Assembly Acts, the Women's March on Versailles. Include the state taking control of the religion and the Constitution of 1791. Include how the radicals took over and declared war. End with the fighting in the April of 1792. Another option could be you could end with the beheading of Marie Antoinette, or emigres going throughout Europe spreading the fear of what was happening. Now, the Reign of Terror is when the revolution goes off the rails. And I want you to begin with the absolution of the monarchy and the storming of the palace on August 10th, 1792. Include the execution of the king and the queen. Show Robespierre's role in the revolution. Also show the role of the guillotine that played. And understand, the French used the guillotines all the way into the 1970s, and end with the rise of French nationalism and the push for revolutionaries when they push for social reform. But another easy way to end this is when Napoleon brings order. Then you tell the story of Napoleon. Begin with Napoleon coming to power. How did he do it? Include him crowning himself emperor and then his subsequent reforms. Show how he built the French Empire with an example of a battle he fought. Then talk of Napoleon's downfall, the losses he faced, especially Waterloo. End with his death and the legacy he left behind. So the very first day, we're going to assign the roles. I'm going to leave it up to you. See if you choose any of the roles, and if nobody does anything, I will plug them in from there. And then the first day is all about research. Just find out the story. Learn about your character. Brainstorm ideas to how you want to go about doing it. Now, the second day, I want the group to establish your script. And, think about what format are you going to use? Is it going to be a serious tone, dramatic, humorous? I've had people mimic TV shows and whatnot. Figure out what props you want to use and make sure people are on the same page with scripts. Google Docs is a fantastic way, Google Slides, whatever you're going to use, it's a nice way to get people collaborating and on the same page. Now, Thursday and most likely into Friday, you're going to establish your actual play, and you're going to rehearse, do some practice runs, and then we're going to perform. And again, these dates, these deadlines are rough, depending on the group, depending on what's happening, but eventually you will perform in front of the people. And in terms of your grade, I'm going to look for teamwork. Did you contribute and did you make your group better? Or were you trying your best? Were you fully utilizing your talents? Some people aren't dramatic, won't be up there putting on a show, but they're helping or they're trying to contribute the best they can. If you are bouncing from group to group or you're sleeping or you're doing things that aren't conducive to the group, I have to hit you in the grade department. You've earned it. You do your best, I'll give you full credit, you deserve it. My conscience is clear. Script. Does your script contain creativity while at the same time being historically accurate? Tough balance, but that's what I'm looking for. Does it fully encapsulate your portion of the French Revolution? Again, you are in charge of just a part of the story. Are you adequately providing the story in that section? And 3, performance. Did your group perform at the best of their abilities? Did every teammate contribute? So essentially, this is a participation. This is working as a teammate. And some ideas from the past, I've been doing this for a lot of years, is some things from years past, and a lot of these are really old. I mean, some of these people are a lot older than you at this point. This group from a long time ago constructed their own guillotine, and here's Dr. Guillotine explaining how they're executing the first and second estates and for what reasons they're doing it, why they need to do it, so on and so forth. This group had music. They made a song. They had some musical accompaniment to their presentation, and it was cool. Why not? If you're a musician, go with it. This guy works here now. Notice he is Josephine, the wife of Napoleon. So if you see him, you can remind him of that he played Josephine, the wife of Napoleon. They look very like good friends. That's nice to see. Friendship is beautiful. Lots of props. And again, this is not a real sword or a real weapon. It's probably not a good idea nowadays. But you see this person's using a Coach Irish yardstick as a sword. This guy is wearing a wig. That's not his natural hair if you thought it is. I wish that was my natural hair. That's impressive. But people bring in props of all kinds. I knew she was the queen because it said queen on the crown. See, they made little crowns. This guy couldn't make the trip to Burger King. He made his out of sticky notes. I don't know how great that is, but it's a good attempt. This is the same guy who's a horse. Yes, he's a horse. He opted to be Napoleon's horse. I believe the horse is called Copenhagen. I think that's trivial and unimportant. So be creative, tell your story, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you create. So thank you for watching.